and Sass, the series talking all things skin with a side of sass, hosted by Kelly George and Andy Paulson, proudly sponsored by KGA Body. Hi guys, welcome back to Skin and Sass TV. I'm Andy Paulson. I have with me the beautiful Kelly George.
Hey guys, welcome Andy.
Again, really excited to be onto the video format, and we love hearing your feedback, so definitely keep it coming. Now, this episode is called something very dear to my heart, Laser My Pigment.
Laser my pigment. I think everyone in Australia needs to laser their pigment at this point, don't you think?
Absolutely.
It's almost like an epidemic. And in actual fact, I was looking up some statistics. So in Australia, photo aging actually accounts for 80% of our aging. So, you know, you might look at our European counterparts, and someone who's the same age with the same skin type will look significantly better than someone in Australia because of, I guess, the sun damage that we have here, the hole in the ozone layer, things like that. So, you know, you can fight aging to an extent, but if you're not looking at the impact of photo aging and what sun damage is doing to your skin, you know, there's really no point in going out there and getting your injectables or doing these other bits and pieces if you're still going to have pigment all over your face, because it's such an aging aspect.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, recently we were doing some research for this episode, and we had a look at celebrities, and Australian as well as international, like American celebrities. And so many of them are just covered in pigment, but you don't know because they've just covered in makeup the whole time.
So it is normal, and we should normalize it, but we should also, I guess, talk about the fact that it is treatable and there is definitely something that we can do about it.
Yeah.
Because when we refer to photo aging, obviously we're referring to an increase in wrinkles or premature wrinkling. We're referring to dullness in the skin. We're referring even to the way that the light reflects off the skin, which, you know, a kid or someone who's, you know, beautiful, youthful, 13-year-old.
And they're glowing skin.
Yeah, they have glowing skin. And we talk about glowing skin because of the way the light reflects off the skin.
Okay.
But the more sun damage you have, it's not just about wrinkles or even pigmentation. It's about that general dullness that you get.
Right.
That lasers will fix if you're addressing the pigmentation. So by addressing the pigmentation, you're actually going to address all those other aspects of photo aging.
So if you get laser for pigment, to remove pigment, you get other benefits.
Correct. And that's why in this episode, I want to specifically talk about the Laser Genesis, which is obviously the laser that I have, which gives us the opportunity to take you guys through the treatment. But that particular laser not only addresses the pigmentation, it addresses fine lines, wrinkles, because it produces collagen literally from the bottom up. So those fine lines, particularly the ones that you get around here on your face that are very, very hard to treat and almost impossible to treat with injectables alone, you can treat with this laser. So it's and the glow that you can get because it resurfaces and takes out that sort of top layer of dead, dull skin, super important. And often forgotten about.
Okay, so there are lots of different types of lasers. Now, we actually did a whole episode in the original Skin and Sass podcast on lasers called Frickin' Laser Beams.
And it was actually our most popular. So if you haven't listened to it yet, you need to go back and listen
to it.
Season 2, Frickin' Laser Beams. It's amazing.
Yes. And the great thing about the episode is we went through all the different types of laser. So vascular laser, pigmentation laser, all the things.
Difference between IPL and medical grade laser, hair removal, tattoo removal, all of those things.
So go listen to that. This episode, we're specifically focusing on pigmentation, which is what technically it's discoloration.
Discoloration of the skin, yeah. And pigmentation could be darker or lighter. So we need to be able to address what's happening at the skin level. But of course, for this episode, we're going to keep it pretty simple and just talk about brown spots and addressing the brown spots.
Okay. So firstly, so you talked about the laser that you use in your clinic.
Yes.
It's called, it's Cutera is the brand.
Correct. And it's the Laser Genesis. So there's a few different elements for it. So if you're coming in, first of all, and this is important, guys, because we are treating pigmented lesions, we always make sure that you have had a skin check with a dermatologist within the last 12 months. What we don't want to do is go and take the colour out of pigmented lesions and then it was actually potentially a dangerous lesion that could turn cancerous, and now we've taken the colour out of it and so the doctor can't identify it down the track.
So basically, if you are considering getting laser for pigment, whether it's on your face or your body, it's really important you've had a skin check in the last 12 months.
Correct. And then, of course, being a nurse, we will assess your skin as well. So I will never go over something that looks a little bit suspicious. We can definitely go around it and still say, you know what, I'm going to refer you back to go and have a little look at that particular lesion. And then with our particular laser, it's really, really cool. So there's 3 different, I guess, settings that we can use. First of all, we'll go through and we will individually spot check each of the little bits of the little bit of pigmentation.
Okay, let's use my arm. Here we go.
So that'd take a while, actually.
Thank you.
But we'll specifically go through and spot check the actual dark lesions. Then we'll go all over and we'll do, I guess it's a painting technique. So we kind of softly go over the face like this, and that's the one that's going to get rid of all that top layer of dead cells. You're going to get that glow almost within about a week. Your skin will be glowing, your makeup will sit nicer, your serums will absorb better. Really, really cool. Then what we do is actually go a step a little bit further. We put the MLA handpiece on, which turns it into a fractionated.
What is MLA?
That's too.
It's too technical.
But it essentially turns it into a fractionated laser. Okay. So when the laser goes into the skin, it spreads out in all different directions, creating these micro trauma channels within the skin. And when it does that, it forces your skin to produce new collagen, new elastin to heal the trauma and the micro damage. Exactly. So we're getting rid of the brown spots, we're getting rid of the buildup of dead cells, and we're creating new collagen. So we are really treating photo aging from every single aspect.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, so many celebrities who look amazing for their age. I'm thinking like the J-Lo's.
Laser all the way. Laser all the way.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have to lie about it because, she can lie about the olive oil stuff. But of course she's getting lazy. There's no possible way you can look that snatched without some skin tightening, collagen production. I mean, the woman's 53.
Right. And how many laser procedures would somebody have to have, say, if they would like to treat pigment and also like fine lines and skin texture?
Well, we treat all of that within the one session.
Okay.
But depending on your age, you might need 2 to 3 of them roughly 6 weeks apart.
Okay.
And then we generally say your maintenance will be every 6 to 12 months, just one. You don't have to do the full 3 again. But it depends on your lifestyle. I mean, if you're out in the sun all day, every day, you're probably going to need some more. But if you have those 3 lasers and then you're really good with your skincare and, your sunscreen, obviously, sunscreen, guys. I mean, we
bang on about it, but it's so important. Yeah. I mean, there are so many.
It's the number one anti-aging tool. If you don't use sunscreen, you might as well not doing anything else.
You don't have to spend a whole heap of money on it.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So 2 to 3 sessions, and then if you're really good with your skincare, once a year as maintenance is all you need to do.
That's pretty good.
It's really good, and it's really manageable and maintainable, I think.
And so what about downtime, and do you need like numbing cream? I know we've got a video coming up. You're going to go through
Well, should we just do that right now? Let's show everyone.
The video. Yeah.
First of all, we give your skin a really good cleanse and we numb you. Although the procedure is quite comfortable, who doesn't prefer numbing cream? After 15 minutes, we will remove the numbing cream, clean your face again, select the settings for the laser based on your skin type and needs. And this is where it is quite important that you have an experienced laser therapist doing your treatment, and we begin the treatment.
I am so excited to get that done this weekend.
Literally in like 4 days, right?
I'm so excited. So question that I still had was, what about downtime?
Yeah, so downtime, it ranges from absolutely nothing. So some people will have no response whatever. They'll leave the clinic a little bit pink. Worst case scenario is maybe 2 to 3 days of hives. So you're a little bit lumpy.
Hives? Oh,
yeah, a little bit lumpy. Calm down. Hang on, that's worst case scenario, like 1% of people.
Okay.
But you can take an antihistamine and it tends to be fine. Right. And of course, when we go over the fine lines and wrinkles and really try and create that collagen, you can look a little bit rashy. Okay. But maximum 2 or 3 days. Okay. It's really quite minimal downtime.
Okay. And the other thing is, so what about post-care? So after the laser, is there anything special you need to do or avoid?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously going to ask you to use a nice, good quality medical grade product on your skin afterwards. So generally, I'm going to recommend the Age Intervention Peptide Extreme for post-care because it's full of peptides and antioxidants that your skin needs to heal. If you don't have that, I would say something super natural like a rosehip oil or, something without any chemicals in it. Yeah. And of course, sunscreen because you've had a laser.
Okay, so I think that's a wrap up for lasers. So before we go, we are continuing the Sassy Minute.
But our Sassy Minutes are actually going to be Sassy Minutes.
Okay, like a minute?
You got a minute, girl.
Timer.
All right.
Okay. So we thought pigment, we should talk about celebrities and pigment.
Okay, go.
And so particularly, there are some famous celebrities who are famous for their beauty marks or moles.
Cindy Crawford.
Yes. Also Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
Who else? We've got Eva Mendes.
I don't even think they could remove moles back then without like chopping your face.
Yeah, well, so they can remove
No, but back when Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
But yes, they can now.
A real feature of people's faces.
But don't you think only on a beautiful person?
That's true.
Like,
and not with like hair growing out of it, like a hairy mole.
So if you're a supermodel, you can get away with having a mole, basically.
Yeah. But it's interesting because freckles on a younger person look youthful.
Cute.
Freckles on an older person with other side of aging, in my opinion, it ages you more.
Yeah, so pretty
What do
much
you
anywhere
think?
from about the age of 30, I think. It starts to
Sad,
just
isn't
add to
it?
that overall
Yes.
aging appearance.
And it's funny because I was reading an article about celebrities who have pigment or freckles, and one of the examples they put up was Kendall Jenner, and she had these cute little freckles, but it wasn't even like real
I think
freckles.
it was that Instagram
It was
filter.
a filter, and yet it was in this article.
What about those? You can buy them and then spray them on
Yes.
into the little...
Well,
Come on.
last season we talked about this. People were actually tattooing freckles on their face.
Actually permanent tattoos.
And
I think that's
it was
another episode
horrendous.
altogether.
That is another episode. But there is a famous Australian who I saw this week actually because she's on Dancing with the Stars.
Ricky Lee.
Ricky Lee. And she took a makeup-free selfie and she was absolutely covered in pigment. And she's young, so she can get away with it to an extent. But her face is full of product.
Yeah, so she's full of injectables, but whoever her injector is hasn't suggested that perhaps we do a bit of skin work, which I just think is a bit crazy.
So hot tip, if you're going to invest in injectables, in Botox or in fillers, might want to invest in skin because laser is, in terms of bang for your buck, it's one of the best things you can do, right?
I mean, I think I've already said in another episode, if I had to choose one, I would choose laser.
Laser. There you go, guys. If you haven't already, but the key is to really make sure you're going to a reputable injector and clinic, preferably a clinic with a nurse or doctor there so that you know that they've got the required training.
Well, and they've got medical grade
devices, and ask them about their experience. Ask to see before and after.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right,
So
guys.
we hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to find out more about lasers, please listen to
Freaking laser beams.
We'll catch you next time.